And I'm back, and guess who remembered to use her intro? Well, it's not that I didn't remember that I had an intro for the series. It's more that I had such a full iPad that I couldn't edit my video to include the intro, which is why I skipped my last monthly upload because I quite literally could not edit and do anything. Anyways, enough about my personal tragedies. Now that I got my new iPad, let's get straight into the business. As you can see, the first part that we're seeing is Chica's dress. At this point, I had created a color palette. I decided that I wanted to go with some like pastels because this version of Chica is going to lean into more like softer, gentler colors. But as you will see throughout the video, I will adjust these colors as I go, as I decide that, hey, this doesn't look too good or I'm going to change it. And at this stage, I didn't know exactly how I wanted to structure the dress. I mean, I knew I wanted it to be majority pink, but I couldn't decide like which shade of pink. Like I thought maybe I should do like a darker pink or a top pink. And as you see, I started off with like I'm gonna do like pink on both ends and then figure out which side I like pink more. And then eventually I just went to, well, I'm not making a cupcake for this version of Chica. Why not just make her dress the cupcake? You know what I mean? So I started going in that direction and I ended up liking it. As you can see, I went with a off-white for the apron because you're never really supposed to use like pure white in a drawing. I mean, you can use pure black because it's a nice bold outline, but using pure white isn't good idea. It's better to use a slightly off-white. Now, this color I'm using for the apron and stuff is going to be made lighter later in the video, but for now, that's just a little friendly tip at where I'm at. Anyways, before we get back into like the lore for Chica and talking about the series as we get more further into like the concept phase of this potential comic book series, not comic book series, that's ridiculous. Fan comic. I just would like to point out the fact that like I was having real amounts of fun showing you my middle school fucking art, from many years ago, and YouTube disabled my fucking comment section. I did not do that. My ongoing theory is that the stupid AI for YouTube thought I was a minor because I mentioned middle school. Newsflash, you fucking moron. I'm a grown ass adult. Just because I sound a little fucked up does not mean I'm a little boy or whatever the fuck you think I am. That's infuriating. Like, this series is not for little kids. I don't know if you're thinking you're protecting a minor. Because newsflash, you fucking dipshit. You didn't protect me when I was an actual minor. Oh, real quick, remember how I said I was deciding whether I wanted like a darker shade of pink on the lower dress portion? Well, I decided to use that darker pink as the ribbon divider. I think it turned out cute. But although, as you can see, I really was finicking with the colors to try to find the exact right shade and stuff. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Like, I don't want to get super into what happened to me when I was younger, so let's just focus on the FNAF stuff, and if you people care enough, you can, like, leave a comment, hopefully, if they let me fucking, have an audience in a comment section. You can, if there's enough people ask, I'll make a video talking about the fucking bullshit, because I've mentioned it in comment section sometimes. Now, where it was, oh no. Oh God, I remember this section. Oh, it was awful. I didn't know a good way to make like I wanted there to be colorful dots on the apron and the lace. So my stupid ass used a dotting brush and I did it in all of the colors and then individually erased colors so that each layer underneath could be seen what color it was. Like, as you can probably imagine, this took forever, but I also just didn't have a good solution to how to like do that normally. So, yeah, that took like forever. You could see how ridiculous it is. I'm like, you have to erase one layer to see one color. Then you have to erase that other layer so you can get to the other color. And there were like so many colors. It was, I don't know why I did this to myself. I mean, I like the final result, but like, how am I going to replicate this on an individual level? Well, I know how I'm going to replicate it. I'm just going to like use random colored dots in each panel. So the dot placement's going to be inconsistent, but who's going to freaking care when it's in like comic format? You know, it's like, oh, Chica's dress has colorful dots on it. Cool. No one's going to pay attention to like the individual placement of the colored dots. This was just so the reference made it clear there were colored dots on the apron. But anyways, I'm just going to move on. Where were we? Fuck. So, let's finally get back into the lore portion of these videos. Last time I mentioned, well, not last time, 2 videos ago in the series, I started bringing up Crystal slash Christine's habits as a spirit, the fact that she doesn't possess her character all too often, the fact that she is incredibly angry and volatile. She was a fighter in life, and now as a ghost, she's an incredibly violent spirit. Chica's pretty much like a pretty friendly character, but when she's possessed, she is one of the most dangerous animatronics. It's like being chased down by a velociraptor from Jurassic Park, which is the whole point of making her bird-like, is to make her the least human. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because as a kid, Chica was always the least scariest to me, especially because I got into the series during FNAF 1, but by FNAF 2, they were already doing this thing where Chica was getting, like, heavily sexualized. Like, I knew the first one was getting, like, weirdos freaking out over her. And as a kid, I didn't get it. Because, like, Chica does not look very feminine to me as a kid. Nowadays, I'm a little bit more generous. So I understand that people are fucking weirdos. And, oh, real quick. And this is the part where, like, I gave up and decided to do stuff off screen. Because I'm not super confident about my lettering. I wanted to do let's eat, like I did on like here. Oop, a little bit of a spoiler, with me scrolling up like that because I started combining layers and stuff. I wasn't confident in my lettering, so I did that off screen, did some bubble coloring. It was a pain in the ass. Trust me, it would have not been fun to watch. But anyways, before I get back into my little story time on the lore, I just want to say, so at that point, I then put it, there was one layer where I'm keeping it, so, like, I have a dress reference by itself, and then there is another layer where, like, obviously where I'm showing, like, naked Chica, so you can see what she looks like under her dress, and then there's a version where you can just see her wings, and then there's the version with her wearing the outfit with her wings, and this is that version. So instead of recoloring it like a crazy person, I copied the coloring layer and then placed it underneath. And then as you can see, the real problem is that I have to like erase the coloring layer so that it doesn't show up on like, like underneath. As you can see, I'm like erasing it so that I can, so like you can see what Chica looks like with her dress on. And then as you can see, it doesn't perfectly line up. So I have to like fill in the colors later. So you'll see that later in the video. There's probably a better way of doing it. I just don't know how. This is just how I deal with things like this. Speaking of naked Chica, which is a crazy-ass sentence to say, like I was saying, I really want to lean into, like, she's more animalistic, she's more feral, the spirit inside of her is more feral. I am very much avoiding designs that, like, can come off as, like that, because, like, it always bothered me as a kid that, because FNAF's been out for a very long time, that people just want to be like, oh, they're just robots, I'm allowed to draw them however I want. But it's like, dude, canonically these robots are stuffed with dead kids and are possessed by dead kids. That's why they move around. I mean, some of the more advanced ones like Toy Chica and stuff are not possessed, but like the OGs are. It's kind of fucked up. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get into that can of worms because fandoms are being really stupid right now. I mean, don't even get me started about the Baldur's Gate fandom, about the Starian book coming out. That's a nightmare to itself, but I don't want to get into that because I imagine you don't want to hear that content. So forgive me if, like, I've forgotten if I mentioned this already, but a new piece of information to reward you for getting this far into the video with how much I've been complaining is that Chica's spirit is a variant spirit, which in my book, like, a lot of, like, the franchise has forgotten its ghostly supernatural past, so I'm deciding to add a lot more in. What I mean by variant is that some spirits are more powerful than others. Some spirits can, like, manifest things, and some spirits cannot. You know, like poltergeists, some of them can only move spoons and shit, while others can cause electrical fires, that sort of thing. I thought it would be cool if Chica's spirit was one of those. Because, you know, in the series, if I had to say the closest thing to a variant spirit we have, it would be like Charlie in the puppet, or Cassidy in the Golden Freddy animatronic, which I know her name might not actually be Cassidy. I mean, I still in my heart believe she's the one he should not have killed. But apparently it's some other fucking kid. That's really just Scott's fault for fucking up the lore. It's like he had something good going on, and then he overcomplicated it again because he wants to have more add-ons. Anyways, we've reached the end of my footage, so I guess that's time. It was nice seeing you again, and see you next time. Bye-bye!